Lamplight City! Welcome back. We are rolling right along through our first case. Something's fishy with Juliet. We just got some pills we're going to give to the son Andrew. We're trying to clear. I don't remember his name. What's his name? We're trying to clear Albert.
I have some questions for you. Oh, goody.
Got some pills for you too, homie.
You'll never believe what I found in your family's tomb.
Oh? Was it a ghost?
No, it was these vigor pills. You wouldn't happen to know how they got there, would you?
I see you really are good at your job, aren't you, Mr. Fordham?
I am.
Look, Andrew, I'm in no mood for games.
What you're doing is highly illegal. I have no choice to approach the police. Just be quiet. Take one of these pills.
I'm willing to overlook your unlawful activities in exchange for your cooperation.
Fine, but you have to understand, I'm not exactly feeling myself right now.
I understand perfectly, which is why I need you to take one of these pills.
I suppose one would help. Thank you.
No man never do.
My goodness, I always forget how fast those pills work. My heart is racing. You said you had questions, didn't you? Well, go on, ask them already. You mustn't waste any more time.
Well, that seems to have done the trick. I just hope we haven't doomed him to a heart attack.
All right.
How do you typically spend your days, Mr. Montgomery? What are your interests?
I study pharmacology at the university. I'll be graduating next year if all goes well. I just hope
Pharmacist.
Mother has recovered enough by then to understand what's going on. She and Jean were so proud of me when I
Jean?
started
Who's Jean?
university. I'd be so disappointed if she couldn't see me finish.
I take it Jean is your stepfather.
He is. Mother married him 5 years after my father died of consumption.
My condolences. Do you have a good relationship with him?
Not terribly. Truth is, I hardly ever see him. In fact, before the funeral, I hadn't seen him at all this month.
Where is he now?
I don't know for certain, but it seems likely he's at his hunting cabin.
His hunting cabin.
Yes, he often goes there. It's his way of leaving polite society behind and spending time with his thoughts. Considering what Mother just went through, well, I would guess that's where he's gone. Although, to be honest, I don't know why he's not here with Mother in her time of need.
Yeah,
Why
that's
do
supposed to
people
be
run
us.
away from their problems instead of facing them? Why, Miles?
Why?
Do you know where this
Miles?
cabin
Why?
is?
Afraid not. I don't share his passions, so I never cared much to accompany him on his outings.
Okay, so we gotta find the cabin. Talk about
What
his
can you tell me
mama.
about Madame Dupre?
I can't believe anyone would be so cruel as to do what that wretched bastard Martin did to her. Mother is kind and generous, and everyone loves her. She's even good enough to hire actual people to do the housework. Not many wealthy families do that, you know. They just use automated machines or hire servants to operate the manual ones.
What about your sis?
What can you tell me about your sister, Juliet?
Juliet, smart as a whip and just as forgiving. She's a fighter, that one. Despite being the
forgiving.
only woman in her class, she's managed to rank at the top.
Impressive.
I only wish Mother was more accepting of Juliet going to university. But you don't want to hear about boring family matters, I'm sure.
No, actually, I
Oh,
do.
but family matters are my favorite. It's always so reassuring to know how much worse off everyone else is.
All right.
What exactly were the circumstances leading up to your mother's supposed death?
A few days ago, I arrived home from school and found her collapsed on the floor. She wasn't breathing, so I immediately contacted Dr. Fellows. He examined her and pronounced her dead. We were all completely shocked. I was devastated. She'd been in fine health. In fact, she'd just been out riding that morning. You can imagine our surprise at the funeral when she sprang back to life.
That's funny. It's like death at a funeral.
What's your relationship with the servants like?
Relationship? I don't have one with them. They're servants. Mother always made it clear that they weren't part of the family, just help. We've only got 2 on staff right now, though, the kitchen girl and the gardener.
Well, yeah,
How's
we
it
haven't
you know
seen this
Albert
gardener.
Martin?
He works at the greenhouse where my sister Juliet does her research. The two of them were involved romantically, and Mother didn't like that at all.
Of course
I
not.
heard their fights. They were ghastly.
What exactly made you suspect he was the one responsible for what happened to your mother?
Well, I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? His mother's a notorious voodoo witch. Those people do all sorts of awful things to our kind. It's all out of spite, you know. He knew Mother disapproved of his relationship with Juliet, so he plotted to get rid of her.
So you're
I
running
mean,
some kind of pill
makes
business on the
sense.
side.
I'm providing a service, Mr. Fordham. Not everyone in this life is as lucky as I am. People pay top crown for luxuries like airship tickets and social club memberships. Medicine should be affordable to all.
Huh.
Dr. Tennyson has a patent on the energy pill formula and thus a monopoly on the market. That means he can charge whatever he wants. Students use these kinds of pills all the time, you know. Academic rigors can be overwhelming, and concentrating can be difficult without help sometimes.
Yeah.
I've got the skills and the equipment. If I can replicate the formula, help my fellow students, and sell them at a much more reasonable price, why shouldn't I?
That's got a
There's
good
the fact
point.
that what you're doing is illegal.
Oh, you're starting to sound just like Mother. And just because it's illegal doesn't mean it's immoral. I can think of plenty of examples where the opposite is true.
You're probably the most altruistic person I've met all month.
The sad part is it's true.
So maybe he isn't such a dick.
That's a rather exotic bird you've got.
Yes, Ray is nice when he's quiet. But get him started and it's tough to shut him up.
Who trained him?
I think he already knew some phrases when Mother bought him. She's managed to teach him a few new ones, though.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
Let's get the parrot started then.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey.
Who's a pretty bird?
Ray's a pretty bird.
Ray's a pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you.
So long, birdie.
Bye-bye.
As amusing as it is to chat with this oddball,
Okay. Let's check out this room again.
a much younger Madame Dupre. I suppose that's a nice alternative to a mirror.
Still something's going on with this book.
Choice and consequence. I've never seen so many
We don't have a key to this yet.
Locked. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
Well, someone.
I always thought
Yes, you would. There doesn't seem to be.
they're all empty. How unusual.
Not to mention disappointing.
Alright, let's just go talk to everybody again. See if we can't find something new.
Amelie?
Yes? What is it? We mustn't be seen talking.
Okay, we obviously asked for something new. Oh,
Anything
yeah.
you can tell me about John?
I hardly ever see him. Only at dinner. He's scared of Madam, and so he finds any reason to get out of the house and stay away as long as he can.
Scared of her?
Oh, it's true. You should see him when they're in private, like a shamed puppy that dirtied the carpet.
Interesting.
Do you have any idea why Jean is so afraid of Madame Dupre?
If he's seen the same things we have, then yes.
What kind of things?
No, I spoke out of turn. Forget I said anything.
Amelie, listen to me.
Come on.
Potentially innocent man's life is on the line. If I don't find out who attacked Madame Dupre, he's as good as dead. So if there are any facts or details you know that I don't, you need to tell me.
I can't.
You can. I'm not with the police. If Madame Dupre did something wrong, I'm not going to look the other way. Trust me, I'm on your side.
Madam beats the servants. I think she even does it for fun.
Oh, wow.
I hear the screams sometimes. I don't know how anyone else in the family doesn't. Maybe they do and just ignore it. I don't know. But if Mr. Dupre knows what she do, it explains why he's so scared of her.
Did Madame Dupre ever abuse you?
No, I was lucky, but some of the others weren't.
Like who?
Interesting.
I need details, Amelie.
The old gardener, Guy Dumas, and one of the maids, Celine. I saw
Celine.
Madame going after them the most. Don't know what they did to deserve it, but I would see her walk by in a rage, whip in one hand and a book in the other.
A book? What book?
Oh, I don't know. I can't read, so I don't know what it said on the cover. But it's the same color as the stew spice I always use. Don't know what she used it for, but she always had it with her, just before a beating.
Maybe she'd recite them some of her terrible poetry. I'm sure that was torture.
Wait a
enough.
minute. That book is orange.
Tell me more about Guy and Celine.
They were deeply in love with each other. I used to hear them talk about how they wanted to run away together.
Aw, how
What
cute.
happened to them?
I don't know. One day they were here, and then one day they weren't.
Do you think Madame Dupre may have done something to them?
I couldn't say for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had. Please, let's not talk about this anymore.
You've
Thank
been
you.
very,
Amelie.
very
I
helpful.
appreciate your time.
Now please, let me get back to work.
Let's go check out that book now. Maybe since... Because the spices are all red and orange. We gotta find Jean, too.
Well, this should be the book Amelie mentioned. Well, well, what have we here?
The fuck?
A whip. And it has dried blood on it. How ghastly.
This house is just full of secrets, isn't it?
We haven't done anything in that room. What do you know about your mom being a beater?
I have some questions for you.
All right.
Did you know Guy Dumas?
The old gardener? Sure, I knew him. We didn't talk very much. He was just a servant after all, but he seemed like a nice man. He stopped coming around about 2 months ago. Too bad, really. He did a good job of keeping the gardens looking nice. The new one is all right, but he just doesn't have that special touch Guy did.
Were you familiar with a servant named Celine?
Yes, I believe she was one of the maids. I didn't talk to her very much. Oh, she quit not so long ago. At least I assume she did. I haven't seen her in about 3 months.
Thanks for your time.
My pleasure.
The bird got anything for us?
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey. Work,
Who's a pretty bird?
work. Ray's a pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you. Work.
Pieces of 8?
Hi, matey. Work.
Who's a pretty bird?
I mean, how many times you gotta get him
Ray's a
going?
pretty bird.
Polly want a cracker?
No, thank you. Work.
So long, birdie.
Work. Bye-bye.
Can I go to the map from anywhere? I can. Let's go talk to Juliet.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Is there anything you can tell me about your stepfather, Jean?
Good, since nobody
He's
wanted
a
to talk
kind
about
man.
him until about 5 minutes
I don't really
ago.
see him too often. He seemed rather upset at Mother's funeral, but I can't help but wonder if he feels the same way as I do about her death.
What do you mean?
Just that I get the distinct impression that he and Mother's marriage isn't as perfect as they'd like it to appear.
Of course not.
I'm starting to sense a trend here.
Your brother told me that Jean enjoys hunting. Do you know where his cabin is?
Yes, it's in Fenton Swamp. I went out there with him a few times, but I didn't really enjoy it. Frankly, the place is rather grotesque. All those stuffed trophies staring at you with their cold, dead eyes. Plants are much nicer to have around.
Much nicer.
Anyway, if you take the main road through the swamp about 1.5 miles, you'll come upon a small dirt path that goes northeast. Take that until you see a small cabin on the left. That's it.
Thank you for the information, Miss Montgomery.
Alright, tell me about these two
know Guy
servants.
Yes, he was one of our servants. He used to enjoy reading my books, as well as Andrew's.
When did you see him last?
Just last week, he came by to see me and asked to borrow some books.
Do you know where I might be able to find him?
Not really. I get the impression that he moves around frequently. But I can tell him you're looking for him next time I see him, if you like.
Please do. Although hopefully I'll be able to find him before then. Were you friends with Celine, the maid?
Yes, I was quite fond of Celine. She was so sweet and interesting to talk to. One day, she just left the house with no explanation. Mother said it was because she had found work elsewhere. I was terribly saddened. I wish I'd had the chance to say goodbye to her, at least. What's your interest in her?
Oh, I was just curious, that's all. No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Investigate the Chesterton tomb. We did. Okay. Let's go see if the doctor has anything else to say to us. He does.
Doctor, may I ask you a few questions?
Please be my guest.
Tell me what you know about Jean Dupre.
I'd rather not speak of him. Madame Dupre does not need to be agitated any further.
I take it you don't look very favorably upon him then.
I'll just say this. If my wife had been attacked and left for dead, you can be sure I wouldn't leave her side.
What a gentleman. He doesn't even leave women who aren't his wife.
Those are all the questions I've got for now.
I hope I answered them adequately.
Alright, there's the cabin. We got that from Juliet. We need to investigate the cemetery still.
Hello? Is anyone here?
Strange of Dupre to leave the door unlocked. Maybe it means he'll be returning soon. Satchels, boxes, and other assorted boring things for hunting. One of the guns is missing. Jean must be out using it currently. It seems Mr. Dupre is a Bollingworth man. Maybe he's not so bad after all. Not a very dignified end for our friend Mr. Bear.
Oh, the cabinet.
Let's see if Jean has anything interesting in here.
It's really the only thing to
Not
search.
very much, except a letter.
Dear Jean, thank you so much for your help. To think that Mother would try and have me withdrawn from my studies is just unbelievable. Don't worry. I won't tell her you made the university change their minds. One attempt to win at life is enough. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Who
whoa,
the hell are
whoa.
you? What are you doing in my cabin?
What'd you
Jean
do to my
Dupre, I
cabin?
presume?
Yes, that's right. Who are you?
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I'm looking into the attempted murder of your wife.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course.
Why don't you
Forgive
put
my
it back
rudeness,
up?
but you startled me.
Why don't you put the gun away?
Understandable, Mr. Dupre.
This is a man whose bark is most definitely worse than his bite.
There you go. Thank you.
Some high society type in the middle of a hunt. I don't understand why anyone would get a thrill out of murdering innocent creatures. Are these even native to New Britannia? An absolute bore. I had a nasty run-in with an alligator when I was a child. One less in the world doesn't really bother me, to be honest. You really have to wonder about someone who chooses to surround themselves with dead things.
It's kind of weird.
You know, I've heard it said that needing to have so many guns is a sign of overcompensation.
Alright, that's everything.
Can we talk, Mr. Dupre?
I suppose so. Yes.
I suppose it goes without saying that you enjoy hunting, Mr. Dupre?
I mean, I've been around all day.
I do.
No one even
I
talks
consider
about you.
myself something of an outdoorsman, you see. It's nice to be able to go out and get some fresh air after being sat at the bank all day.
What about your home life?
Truth be told, I'm not at home as often as I'd like to be. I've been trying to make more time, but something usually comes up. Business is business, after all.
That's true.
Yeah, but what business are we talking about here exactly?
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
Oh, my dear wife, the past few days have been just awful
My
for
dear
all of us.
wife.
Yes, I can imagine. How long have you been married?
For 7 wonderful years. Laura and I are just as much in love now as we were on the day we married.
Lord, does he actually expect anyone to believe that nonsense?
You'll pardon me for being so frank, Mr. Dupre, but why are you out hunting and not at your wife's side?
Excuse me? Who are you to lecture me on my marriage?
A fellow married man, that's who. Your wife has just suffered a very traumatic ordeal. Shouldn't you be at home caring for her?
But with all the confusion at the house with the police investigating and her being attended to by her doctor, I just needed to get away for a bit. Surely you can understand, Mr. Fordham.
Yeah.
There's something off about this guy, Miles. He's definitely hiding something. And for once, I don't think it's from his wife.
Do you know anything about the circumstances surrounding Madame Dupre's death?
I still don't know who
Horrible.
did it.
Simply horrible.
Do you have any idea why Mr. Martin might have attempted to kill her?
Mr. Martin? You mean the boy they arrested? Andrew said it's because Martin and his mother are witches who prey on the well-to-do.
Yeah,
You
that's
only
not
need to
so
take
much
one look
the
at him
case.
to see his trouble. It's a shame they put him away so quickly. I'd have liked to teach him a lesson or two, believe you me.
Yeah, right. A lesson on how to cower in the corner, most likely.
What can you tell me about your stepchildren?
Andrew and Juliet? I see a bright future ahead for both of them.
What's your relationship with them like?
It's fine. Why do you ask?
I got the distinct impression from both of them that they hardly ever see you.
Yeah.
Well, yes, I suppose that is true. We
Nobody
spend
sees you,
much time
homie.
Together, but they're both so busy with school. I don't want to get in their way. Not to mention my job keeps me away from home for considerable periods of time.
Excuses, excuses. I get the feeling Mr. Dupre avoids his family on purpose. But why?
I mean,
Do you fear your wife, Mr. Dupre?
just not
Do
holding any
I?
punches back.
What?
The question's quite simple. Are you afraid of Madame Dupre?
Why in the ether would you think that?
I'd be afraid of someone who kept a bloody whip in my bedroom. Care to explain that?
Yeah, we don't need Amelia
I-
getting beat.
You don't know her like I do. No one does.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No one aside from the servants, I suppose.
That's a
She's
bad thing.
cruel, Mr. Fordham. Crueler than anyone or anything I've ever seen.
Tell me more about Madame Dupre's cruelty.
She treats the servants like animals, Mr. Fordham. She would say the most vile, awful things to them. Things I would expect to hear on the Gascon docks, not from the lips of a grande dame. And the beatings. Oh, God. The screams I would hear from somewhere in the house. I never dared find out where.
Nobody else ever heard the screaming?
No. She was cunning. She would do it when no one else was around. Once she knew I had heard, she threatened me. Told me she would...
Yes?
She
Can't hurt you
threatened
now.
to expose my secret, Mr. Fordham.
And what secret is that?
Our marriage is one of
He's gay too.
convenience. It's all for show. Laura has herself a well-to-do husband, and I am a normal man in the eyes of society.
I see. I suppose that would explain a few things.
Well, now, how was that not obvious to you? The soporific is really having a bad effect on you.
Don't worry, Mr. Dupre. Your secret's safe with me.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham.
You hope.
Tell me what you know
All
about
right.
Guy Dumas and Celine.
Celine had an accident.
What kind of accident?
Laura thought Celine had been stealing her silverware. She got a bit carried away with a beating, and
Dupre killed Celine?
yes, she did. In order to keep it quiet, she had Celine placed in our family tomb.
I see. What about Guy?
I don't know. I never saw him again after that.
Well, this case has certainly taken a turn for the sinister.
Okay.
Do you know anything about Madame Dupre trying to get Juliet taken out of her classes at the university?
Ah, yes. Laura didn't approve of her daughter's desire to further her education. So, she sent a letter to the university.
Dude, this
requesting
lady,
Juliet's
Madame
withdrawal.
Dupre, she's
I
kind of
didn't
a
approve of her
bitch.
trying to meddle in Juliet's affairs. If she wants to study, she should be free to do so. I wrote them a letter myself, without Laura's knowledge, telling them to disregard the previous request for withdrawal.
Fish.
That's very good of you.
Yes, well,
Stop.
I dislike seeing people being told what they can and can't do by others.
Yet, he seems perfectly willing to employ servants at his home. Well, I suppose we're all hypocrites in one way or another.
I'll be going now.
Au revoir, Mr. Fordham.
Au revoir, Mr. Fordham. Okay, so we just found out that his wife is a terrible, terrible person. In more ways than one.
Hello again, Miss Montgomery. Mind answering a few more questions?
Hello, Mr. Fordham. Not at all.
Did your mother try to get you withdrawn from the university?
As a matter of fact, she did. Just another one of the many ways she tried interfering with my life.
What happened exactly?
Mother wrote the university requesting
She
that
seems
I
good.
be
She's getting a little
withdrawn.
bitter.
I found out about it when the enrollment office contacted me. I couldn't believe it at first. I thought it was some sort of mistake, but then they showed me the letter.
I take it you were upset.
More than upset, Mr. Fordham. I was furious. I was trying to make a real life for myself. One that wasn't about dresses or debutante balls or fending off suitors.
Yeah,
I'd been
that's
given
good.
the chance to make something of myself, and Mother was ready to bring it all crashing down, just because she didn't agree with it.
Yeah, that sounds about
But in
like
the end,
about
you're
her.
still here.
Yes, Jean stepped in and fixed everything. He didn't have to do it, but it was very good of him. I'm afraid that was the beginning of the end of my relationship with Mother. We never really managed to fix things after that.
No more questions for now.
Then if you don't mind, I have work to do.
Fordham, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Wait, what am I saying? Of course you are. Madame Dupre has been interfering with Juliet's studies and disapproved of her relationship with Martin, hence their falling out. Plus, the information in Juliet's notes about ethericity, putting animals into a death-like trance, seems awfully suspicious. It's enough to establish both means and motive. That's plenty to consider her a suspect.
Yeah, I think so too. Investigate the Chesterton tomb, return to Upton and accuse Albert Martin. Find out more about Guy and Celine. Let's find out more about Guy and Celine. And it says we need to investigate the tomb still. Guess we knocked that guard out cold. Wait a minute. Celine?
Desmond Chesterton, 1745 to 1810. Strong in life, stronger in death.
I'm pretty sure one of these was named Celine.
Celine, 1823 to 1844. Taken too soon. Rest ye with the angels.
Wait a minute. This is Celine, the maid. Somehow a piece of paper got wedged into the side of the vault.
Use the tweezers.
Carefully now. Got it. Nice work, Fordham. Now to see what.
Booyah! She will pay for what she
Interesting.
did to you, my
Leaving
love.
notes for the dead. How very touching. Wonder if anyone has left me one at my grave.
Quiet, Bill. I need to think.
Who wrote this?
We know this note is likely from Guy. Now we just need to figure out where to find him.
Is there anything on the other side of that piece of paper?
Bill, you're a genius.
I wouldn't give me all the credit
Extended
just
stay
yet.
3 months.
Let's see. A receipt for an extended stay at the Stun Arms. Does that sound familiar at all?
Vaguely. But I can't recall anything off the top of my head.
Looks like we'll have to do a bit more searching.
Albert Martin, Key Juliet. Must go chalk that up to no good. Before we do that, let's see if this guy's got
Nothing else
anything.
to
Okay.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
I wanted to go over the case with you.
Okay, what have you got?
I found this note in the Chesterton tomb. I think it was left by the person who attacked Madame Dupre.
Nice work. Sounds like you're about ready to wrap things up.
I will be as soon as I find him. Take a look at the other side of it.
Part of a receipt for a hotel?
Yes, but the name is only partially visible at the bottom.
Well, what you got for me?
Stun Arms. The only hotel that comes to mind is the Boston Arms in Chumley.
Of
Makes sense to me.
I knew the name sounded familiar. Ah, the stories I could tell you about that place. Not right now.
You're helpful as always, Upton. Thank you.
Good luck, Fordham. I hope you find your suspect.
That's enough about the case for now.
Okay.
That's it, I think.
All right, let's
Then
go
you'd better get back to it.
find Guy Dumas. Over here in Chumley.
Who is it?
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. It's extremely important I speak with you, Mr. Dumas.
Private investigator. What do you want?
Just to talk. May I come in?
Yes,
can't arrest
I
you.
suppose so.
It's not what I do.
I found your note in St. Denis Cemetery. Care to explain what it means?
How did you...
I'm a private investigator, Mr. Dumas. That's what I do.
What I
Now,
do,
we can either
homie?
do this the easy way or the hard way. It's up to you.
I left that note for Celine. I didn't think anyone would ever find it.
So it was you who attacked Madame Dupre.
Yes. Yes, it was me. I confess.
Well, you didn't do a
I
good
can't
job.
remember the last time a suspect actually confessed. If only they were all like this.
But please, Mr. Fordham, you have to understand. The woman is evil.
She is.
If only you knew what she did. Please, don't arrest me, Mr. Fordham. You have to know the truth about Madame Dupre.
Relax, Mr. Dumas. I'm not going to arrest you just yet. I'm perfectly willing to hear your side of the story. Now let's take this nice and slow.
Nice and slow. First of all, let's hear about yourself.
How did you come to be employed by Madame Dupre?
I used to work in an iron factory in Chomley, but a few years ago, they brought in some steam machines to help production. One of the machines had a problem, and my friend Connor and I were assigned to fix it. We had no idea what we were doing, but we wanted to keep our jobs. I don't know what happened, but the next thing I knew, Connor was dead, and I was badly hurt. I swore never to go near one of those machines again. After I got better, I spent a few months looking for work, but it was impossible to find any jobs that didn't involve steam tech. Then I found out about Madame Dupre.
Oh.
Working at her home seemed like an improvement. I had a decent bed to sleep in. The work was not difficult, and I even made friends with her daughter. But Madame Dupre soon showed her true nature.
What can you tell me about Madame Dupre?
She seemed like a nice woman at first, but after working for her, I came to know how awful she truly was. When no one was around, she would beat me and some of the other servants for fun, say the most cruel things, call us horrible names.
Why didn't you just leave?
She threatened us. Told us she would make it impossible for us to get work anywhere else.
She probably could,
It's already
too.
difficult enough getting a job that doesn't force you to operate those awful machines. To be blacklisted by Madame Dupre would have been the final nail in the coffin.
Tell me about Celine.
Oh, my dear Celine. She was the most beautiful thing I ever saw.
Oh,
We were going
he
to get
really
married,
loved her.
you know. Then that devil killed her. She beat her to death in front of me. I was powerless to do anything. Please, Mr. Fordham, I don't want to remember. Let us speak of something else.
What about Albert?
Do you know Albert Martin?
No. Who is that?
He's Juliet's lover, falsely accused of the crime you committed.
I had no idea.
Are you going to let an innocent man die because of what you did?
No, of course not. I suppose things got out of hand. It was not my intention for someone else to take the blame for my actions.
So why did you attack Madame Dupre in the way you did?
I knew that if I went to her home and killed her, I would be caught and thrown in jail.
Yeah?
I needed to find a way to do it quietly and not make anyone suspicious. Also, I wanted her to suffer for what she did to my Celine.
Bury her
I read about
alive. That's
toxic
pretty
plants
bad.
in Juliet's schoolbooks, and I knew a bit about them from working as a gardener. So I decided to poison Dupre and make her appear dead so she could be buried alive and suffer the same way she made us when she would lock us away in her secret room.
Secret room.
Did you say secret room?
Yes, Mr. Fordham. It was no bigger than a coffin. She would place us inside if she was especially mad at us, with no food or water, sometimes for days at a time. We couldn't scream because she would stuff our mouths. She would also plug our ears and cover our faces.
How often did she put you in there?
Only a few times, but that was more than enough. I'd rather not think about it.
So you have no idea where it is?
None. I only remember Madame Dupre would say the same thing any time she was about to put someone in there. A perfect servant must behave. I've told you everything, Mr. Fordham. Are you still going to arrest me?
I haven't quite
A
decided
perfect
yet,
servant
Mr.
must
Dumas.
behave.
If I can find this secret room, it would be enough to charge Madame Dupre with a crime. However, if you haven't been telling me the truth...
I have been, Mr. Fordham. I swear it. I'll even make you a deal. If you promise me you'll try to find the secret room, I won't leave this hotel.
All right, Dumas, it's a deal.
Well, at least now we can go straight to Upton and have him taken in. Unless you really do believe him about the secret room.
I do.
That's all for right now, but I'll be back.
Yes, Mr. Fordham. I'll be here.
Accuse Martin. Accuse Juliet. Return to Upton and accuse Guy. No, let's go find that secret room. The bird's gotta know something.
A perfect servant must behave.
And now you'll taste an early grave. Me sofa, Ray. In the middle, see?
A perfect servant must behave.
And now you'll taste an early grave. Me sofa, Ray. In the middle, see?
Me, Sofa, Ray, in the middle, C.
So long, Birdie.
Bye-bye.
There was a piano lesson over here. I'm gonna need to take a picture of this or write it down. I don't have any papers, so we're gonna take a picture. Okay. Me, Sofa, Ray. In the middle C. It's still playing. There's middle C. Me. So. Me, so, fa. Ray.
I wonder why that didn't work. Maybe you should try one octave higher?
Okay, so. Me is E. So. Fa. Oh, here we go. Mi, so, fa, re.
That seems to have done something.
Holy shit.
Dear God!
We found the gardener.
This does not look good. He's dead. You should inform Dr. Fellows about this right away.
It seems Guy was telling the truth after all.
Yes, it would probably be a good idea to let him know of this development.
We got him. And her. Clean the whole thing up.
Guy? Yes?
I found the secret room you told me about.
You see? I wasn't lying.
No, you certainly weren't. There was someone inside. A man.
No. Who?
I'm not sure, but I can only assume it was one of Madame Dupre's servants.
Was he alright?
I'm afraid not. He was dead. Dr. Fellows confirmed it was due to asphyxiation.
Madame Dupre must have put him in there before I drugged her. And then, with everything that's happened, she didn't let him out in time.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's my fault he's dead. If only I'd known.
The circumstances are quite unfortunate, Mr. Dumas. However, this has shed a new light on Madame Dupre and her cruel practices. I can't say for certain that you were justified in your actions, but I am a bit reluctant to say you were completely at fault. But the bottom fact is that Mr. Martin has been falsely accused of this crime. If I were to let you go, he would be punished in your place. Unless...
Yes?
I'm going to need you to write me a letter, Mr. Dumas.
Of course, Mr. Fordham. Anything to take care of this mess.
What are we doing here?
Good. Hopefully now this whole grim affair can be brought to an end. That's all for right now, but I'll be back.
Yes, Mr. Fordham.
What's in the
I'll be
letter?
here.
Nothing else?
Okay, she must be at her appointment. She go tell her daughter about how terrible
He's
a
busy.
person.
That's not...
Alright, nothing else left to do but then go to up to no good.
Can we talk?
Go on, I'm listening.
Let's
I
wrap
think
it up.
I'm ready to wrap this case up.
Okay, who's your prime suspect?
It was Guy Dumas, a former servant at Dupre Manor. He used toxic plants to drug Madame Dupre so she appeared dead, which he learned about from her daughter's schoolbooks.
What was his motive?
That's the thing. I've learned that Madame Dupre is extremely cruel to her servants. She regularly beats them, and even has a secret room no bigger than a coffin where she places them as punishment. I discovered this secret room and found a dead servant inside. He had died from asphyxiation.
My God.
Yeah,
A
she's
few months
fucking
ago,
crazy.
Madame Dupre beat Guy's lover Celine to death. He wanted revenge and intended to make Madame Dupre suffer the trauma of being interred alive.
I see.
Constance, I don't think Dumas should be arrested for his crime. He doesn't deserve it. Madame Dupre, however...
Yes, I see what you're saying, and I agree, but what about Mr. Martin?
Let him
I
go.
got a signed confession from Mr. Dumas. You can see the handwriting matches this note I found in the cemetery. That should be enough to release Mr. Martin, as well as giving Guy a head start in his escape from the city.
It's gonna be tricky getting the department to look into this, but with the proof you've gathered, it should work.
Let him go.
Excellent investigating, Fordham. I knew you still had it in you. And of course, I'll dip into the department's Good Samaritan fund to get you proper compensation for your work. For now, go home to your wife. I'm sure I'll have something else for you to look into fairly soon.
Good evening. I'm looking for Madame Laura Dupre.
This is Madame Dupre. I am her personal physician, Dr. Fellows. May we help you, officer?
Yeah, let's wheel her out of here.
I'm afraid I must place Madame Dupre under arrest.
What? On what charge?
Several, actually. Manslaughter, domestic violence, murder in the second degree. Shall I go on, or can we continue this at the police station?
You won't have to worry about Madame Dupre anymore. She'll be in jail for a very long time.
Oh, she's already brain
Mr. Martin
dead.
has been released with a full pardon as well.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. I appreciate your help and your trust.
Think nothing of it, but you'll need to leave town as soon as you can. Have you made plans?
I was thinking of heading south. New Britannia is too cold and dark. I want to find someplace more like my home.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Dumas.
Get the hell out of town, baby.
Addie, I'm home.
Hey, we wrapped up case number
Addie?
1.
She must still be out at her hairdressing appointment. I'm glad we're alone because I wanted to talk to you about something.
Yes, Bill, I know. I told you I'm doing my best to try and find the flower shop burglar.
No, for once, this isn't about him. This is about you.
About me?
You want to talk about me? What about me?
You can play dumb and deflect all you like with everyone else around you, but it won't work with me. I know exactly what you're thinking, and you know exactly what I'm gonna say.
You want to talk about how we did on this case?
Yes, that's exactly right. Have you already forgotten the old days, Miles? Before I died, we were solving cases like nobody's business. You were one of the best detectives on the force. But ever since you started taking that soporific, your mind hasn't been as sharp as before.
Hey, it's your
If
fault,
you're serious
Hobie.
about taking on more complex cases, you need to listen to Adelaide and stop taking it. It's already had a negative effect on your performance.
What are you talking about? We were able to discover the truth about Madame Dupre.
Yes, but if you were working at your full abilities, you'd have come to that conclusion much sooner.
What the hell?
If I stop taking it, you won't let me sleep through the night. Nothing will change.
Well, things would change if you found you-know-who.
I thought you said we weren't going to talk about that right now.
Yeah, well, I say a lot of things.
He does.
An understatement if ever there was one. Can't you just keep quiet without me having to take something?
Afraid not, old friend. That's just not who I am or how this works.
If you keep me up all night, I'll go crazy. Things have been hard enough as it is. And if, God forbid, Adelaide were ever to find out about...
Hello, Miles. Is there someone else here? I thought I heard you talking just now.
Fantastic. The jig is up. And here I thought we were doing so well, too.
No, I was just going over the case. Thinking aloud, you see.
Ah, of course.
How was your appointment?
Saved it.
Mrs. Lefebvre was her usual bossy and overly picky self, but she gave me a very generous tip.
That's good.
So I stopped by the shop on the way home and bought a new deck of cards.
Excellent. Shall we have a few rounds of écarté? I believe you demanded a rematch last time we played.
Yes, that would be nice.
Well, you certainly managed to dodge that bullet. I only wish I could say the same.
And fade to black. Alright, guys, we're going to stop right there. It's been 2 weeks. I think it's a good time to stop. After this conversation, probably.
And it says here they still don't know what caused that explosion.
I guarantee you it was sabotage. Those Redites have been causing a lot of trouble lately.
The
Is that the group of anti-steam tech radicals?
The very same.
Why Redites, though?
They're named after some fellow named Jonathan Red. Apparently the one who began the whole anti-steam movement. It's really a rather stupid name, if you ask me. And uncreative, to boot.
Well, what would you call them, then?
Anti-Steam Society, the League for Preservation of Blowing Things Up, the Boom Boom Boys.
Something more evocative, like the Boom Boom Boys.
Definitely gets to the point, I'll give you that. Perhaps you'd best stick with the detecting, dearest. Your nomenclature needs a bit of work.
Well, I think it's about time I get ready for bed.
All right, Miles, if you must.
Well, let's save it. It's bedtime. And until next time, guys, drop a like if you haven't already done so, and please subscribe if you are new here. We play all kinds of stuff on the channel. We do also live stream quite often. So, I will see you later.